I think the WNBA might be perpetuating a race hoax. Hello, good people. It is Todd Shannon, data scientist, social commentator, getter of buckets, and because I am a getter of buckets, I'm going to talk about the WNBA. Now, this is a little odd because, talking about the WNBA is new for pretty much all of us because no one cared about the WNBA until like 5 minutes ago when Caitlyn Clark arrived on the scene. Now, they bemoan that fact in the WNBA for some reason because they don't want their popularity to come at the hands, I think, of a kind of a normal heterosexual white girl from the Midwest. But such is life. It's very interesting that the WNBA seems to be allergic to the newfound popularity that they have been experiencing at the hands of one Caitlyn Clark. All the revenue, the notoriety, they seem to not want it. And it's very interesting. It's very interesting to observe. But I wanted to talk about just kind of the prevalence of claims from many of the WNBA women that now this new fandom, courtesy of Caitlyn Clark, is more racist and racial and abusive and saying all kinds of things that hurt their feels and all that stuff. And there's just been an onslaught of those kinds of claims. So I wanted to take a moment to examine some of these claims because I have a theory, as you heard probably in the beginning of this video. In the intro, I think there's something fishy about it, but I want to examine some of this stuff, and we'll start with Miss Alyssa Thomas, one of the players from the team that was that faced Caitlyn Clark's Indiana Fever in the first round. They ended up defeating them. This is the press conference that they had afterwards, and this is what she had to say.
Honestly, it's been a lot of nonsense. I think in my 11-year career, I've never experienced the racial comments from the Indiana Fever fan base. We had her face on a serious matter that happened in this world, and it's unacceptable, honestly. And there's no place for it, and we've been professional throughout the whole entire thing, but I've never been called the things that I've been called on social media, and there's no place for it. And basketball is headed in a great direction, but nah, we don't want fans that are going to degrade us and call us racial names. I mean, we already see what's happening in the world and what we have to deal with in that aspect. And we come to play basketball for our job and it's fun, but we don't want to go to work every day and have social media blown up over things like that. It's uncalled for, and something needs to be done, whether it's them checking their fans or this league checking. There's no time for it anymore.
So you heard one Alyssa Thomas's comments. She says every day she comes to work, she just wants to play basketball, and she's getting bombarded with racial comments on social media. Now, I do want to say this, and I promise y'all, I'm not trying to, I'm not purposely being strident or obtuse here. But before this incident, I didn't know who Alyssa Thomas was. And for that matter, pretty much nobody knew who she was unless you are a diehard WNBA fan. And we all know that there was only about 10 of them. It's absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. I just want to throw this out there as just as an anecdote. Or maybe just as a possible observation. You know what, Ms. Thompson? Maybe the fact that you went from no fans to a whole lot of fans because of the visibility caused by Caitlyn Clark, maybe a couple or three of them might be bad. But now you actually have some fans. I mean, let's look at this silver lining here. You went from 5 fans to 5,000 fans. Here's the question that I want to ask Alyssa Thomas. Would you rather have 5 fans and none of them be racist? Or would you rather have 5,000 fans and say 10 of them be racist? I mean, it's just one way to think about it. But I'm actually being quite generous here because I'm granting her the benefit of the doubt. Because I am presupposing that these racial comments and all of these racial things that say that they are experiencing are actually genuine. And I have to say to you, I'm very skeptical about that. Recently, I read a book, or I'm actually still reading it. I've gotten through most of it, but there's a book out there by a gentleman named Wilfred Riley, and I recommend you go pick it up. If you're like an Audible fan, if you'd like to listen to audiobooks, it's available on audio, or obviously you can get it on Amazon, hard copy, what have you. But it's called Hate Crime Hoax. Hate Crime Hoax. And he documents the ascent and the absolute prevalence, the almost ubiquity, I would even say, of race crime hoaxes. We all know about the most infamous one, right? We all know about the Jussie Smollett, that French actor, right? Jussie Smollett. We know about that one, but that is just, I would say it's the tip of the iceberg, but it's not even that. It's the tip of the iceberg. He documents in this book hundreds of hate crime hoaxes, many of them much more egregious than the one pulled off by Jussie Smollett. And the results that have come from some of these things are absolutely mind-boggling. Some of these people ended up admitting that they lied and they made up the whole thing. And then, for example, there was one university, I believe in New York State. I believe it was in Buffalo, where even though the person admitted that they made it up, they still basically kowtowed to her and made her feel like, well, we understood why you did it because racism is they didn't even the person didn't even get in trouble. It's actually insane. And it just tells you what type of climate and when you have a situation where there's only upside to making these claims, and even if you get caught, there's very little downside, then what you're going to do is you're going to incentivize that more people fabricate these stories. So what I learned from this book is that if there's anything we should be skeptical of, in this day and age, it's that somebody who says that someone called them a racial slur or that someone said something racist about them, if there is no actual proof that someone did it, we should be skeptical. We should be skeptical. And I have to tell you, I'm very skeptical. I want to show you very briefly. This is an article I saw in The Atlantic. And it talks about some of these so-called situations. And there's one in particular that I want to point out. Here's this article in The Atlantic. It says, let me just zoom out just a smidge here. It says, on what should have been a celebratory night for the Connecticut Sun as they advanced to their 6th consecutive WNBA semifinal by eliminating the Indiana Fever in the first round sweep, some ugliness instead crept in. It says, the WNBA, in a statement issued Wednesday night, denounced the negative messages sent to players online after Suns guard Dejanay Carrington shared a threatening email she received. The email posted on Carrington's Instagram story included a racist slur and graphic threats of death and sexual assault. It says, while we welcome a growing fan base, the WNBA would not tolerate racist, derogatory, or threatening comments made about players, teams, and anyone affiliated with the league, the statement read. All right, so let's just take a moment. Because this player, Dejanay Carrington, she has actually been under a lot of scrutiny because she has had some of the most, should I say, contentious run-ins with the WNBA's Michael Jordan 1 Caitlyn Clark. I say Michael Jordan, not necessarily because she's the best player, but because she is the most important. She's the most marketable. She is the league, flat out. But this Dejanay Carrington there's been some controversy because she's the one that many believe may have intentionally poked Caitlyn Clark in the eye with some really weird nails that she had on, some very long fake nails. I'm just like, women, how do you even, I mean, I play basketball, right? I don't understand how you play basketball with these long nails. But anyway, some people believe that that her poking Caitlyn Clark in the eye with her long fake nails, that it might have been intentional. And she also was one of the players who had some other things to say, some other very strong things to say about supposedly racial things being said about Caitlyn from Caitlyn Clark fans. Now, I don't want to show you this. I don't want to show you this because I don't want to get this video kind of taken down. I'll show you kind of a part of it. No, I'm not even going to show it because basically it says this is what she says. She posted this on her Instagram story. It says, you worthless N-word B. I hope someone rapes you and decapitates you, or just, or cuts off your head, whatever. So that's the screenshot, and then the caption says, "Can't make this up. Sent to my email. Y'all need Jesus for real." Now, I have some questions, okay? First of all, it's got a from, in the from line, it says NA, which I don't know what that means. First of all, if someone sent me something like this, I wouldn't be trying to obscure their email. I'd be putting their email on blast, right? Don't you want? So I don't know how you can send someone a private email and obscure your email address. Maybe you can. People have that technology. I'm not saying you can't, but it's a little odd that that it doesn't say where it's from. And then it says to Dejanay Carrington. And then, and then on the bottom it says sent from my T-Mobile 5G device. So apparently someone sent from their mobile device an email to Dejanay Carrington with this racial comment. But I'm just bear with me for a moment. How did this person get her email? This email addresses are not public. It's like your phone number. As a matter of fact, it might be easier to find someone's phone number than it is their email. And this looks like, it doesn't look like something that was, I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm just saying I have questions. Because of all of these claims, we've had people like Brittany Griner. We had this woman, Alyssa Thompson. We had Dejanay Carrington. We had a lot of women saying, the Indiana Fever fans are saying these things out in the open. It kind of reminds me of, if I'm not mistaken, was it a Duke volleyball player? I don't know. It was a volleyball player a couple of years ago who said that they went to BYU to play a volleyball game. I'll have to find that story. I can't remember what it is. But she said someone was yelling racial slurs from the stands, right? And it was, she's saying they're yelling racial slurs during the game from the stands. And you got to think about that. If she's on the floor and the fan is yelling racial slurs from the stands and she can hear them, then so can everyone around her. But you know what they couldn't find when they did an investigation? They couldn't find a single person in that stadium or at the game that said they heard anyone say anything like what she had claimed. Just think about how many people had to have heard something loud enough at an athletic event, at a sporting event with thousands of people there, saying it loud enough so that the female players on the court can hear them, and nobody else heard it. I'm just saying, all of these claims of supposed racial comments, and the only evidence that anyone has presented that it even remotely could be genuine is some sketchy screenshot of an email from Dejanay Carrington with a message that is so on the nose. You worthless N-word B. I hope someone, assaults you and cuts off your head. It's like seriously, it's exactly the sort of thing that if you were making up a hoax, it's exactly the sort of thing that you would write. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying I want to see some receipts. I think the real issue is that the WNBA is full of a bunch of immature and emotionally shallow women who hate the fact that a young country white girl is kicking their behind. It's just a fact. She's not a part of the rainbow mafia, if you know what I'm saying. She's normal. She's from the Midwest. She ain't from the hood. She ain't down with all of this super woke stuff. Although, I think that they're starting to get to her. I think Caitlyn Clark is going to, unfortunately, slowly over time, they're going to press her into being an SJW. We don't use that term anymore. Social justice warrior. More so, the woke mind virus is more likely to slowly take over her brain. But for now, I'm calling bullcrap. But I'd like to know what you think. Do you think this is real? Do you think the WNBA players are actually experiencing racism? I have to tell you, I am very skeptical. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Like, share, subscribe to Todd Thinks. And till next time, my friends, God bless you.